Did US miscalculate, sir?
Intangible factor, Donald Trump is a big factor in it because he obeisance towards oil. I don't bring that because it is the matter of their existence. They are fighting for their existence.
And at least they have clarity, sir. This happened with the Israelis, sir. They have absolute clarity.
Absolutely, pinpoint.
The Americans are confused, sir. You operated with Soleimani, sir?
I did. I know when he was a brigadier, in the UN environment, I have, come across with him. The way the Iranian acted against the national interest of India, that has to be, paramount. And that we should keep it in our mind. Powers. Hezbollah is a power, 30,000, missiles or rocket. It is a power to reckon with.
So, Iran supporting terrorism is where Iran went wrong, you're saying, sir? Because you wipe out their leadership in one shot. Excellent intelligence, very well coordinated. Missiles, bombs in one location. Khamenei goes, the top leadership is wiped out, and suddenly they say...
So they have created, these missile cities has been created with the capacity to, manufacture and add more. Whether it was 1947-48, right, you come down to, a conflict of Kargil.
What you're basically trying to tell me and the audience is that after Midnight Hammer and Rising Lion operations were conducted, they realized that they're going to do it again.
Two wrongs Iran has done it, and the people of Iran is actually having the problem because of that.
Jai Hind, friends, I am Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching Open Collar. Today I have with me Major General K.K. Sinha. He's seen combat in Kargil, he's seen combat overseas. 2 tenures with the United Nations, UN tenures, and Sir is going to explain to us what exactly happened and is happening. What are the reasons behind the US attack, and did US strategically miscalculate, sir? A very warm welcome and Jai Hind, sir.
Jai Hind. Jai Hind to you and to all your viewers.
Thank you, sir. Did US miscalculate, sir? Is there a strategic miscalculation that they thought that they would wrap up, they would do this carpet bombing sort of a thing, and Iran would capitulate, it would fold, and everything would be hunky-dory in a couple of days? No, we don't see that happening. Do you think there was some sort of miscalculation?
Gaurav, they have got, cautioned miscalculations. Why I say cautioned miscalculation? Matter of the fact that the Joint Chief of Staff of United States, General, Daniel Caney, he warned against this. He never wanted. And his same Joint Chief of Staff gave the permission to go ahead when it comes to Venezuela. So there is a caution. He has told that it's going to be likely to be prolonged, likely to be more casualties, which is happening now. In spite of the fact that, they have gone. So means there is some, it is not that, they didn't calculated it. They calculated this aspect also because there was a caution and they have come. Where the things have gone wrong is that, there are other factor, which is an intangible factor. Tangible factor, there were caution. Intangible factor, Donald Trump is a big factor in it because he obeisance towards oil, obeisance towards, doing things in a different way, where somewhere it worked it out, somewhere is not working it out at all. That's why you can say it is a total miscalculation. When it's come down to in a collective way, it is a total miscalculation. Because in spite of the fact that, any military thinker, if we can think this can happen, and if it is happening exactly what, we also war game in our mind, sit down in isolation and think, from the clutter, try to come out what is happening. I find, what I ever thought is happening, if it happens that way, because from 4 days, now they're talking about, 4 weeks to 5 weeks, may go beyond, maybe, years to come, maybe something happened.
At least the repercussions will be felt for years to come. So that is sure, sir.
That is sure. That is sure. That is sure. And that is a miscalculation from the American side. They have been pulled, and I don't blame Israel. I don't bring that because it is the matter of their existence. They are fighting for their existence.
And at least they have clarity, sir. This happened with the Israelis, sir. They have absolute clarity.
Absolutely, pinpoint.
The Americans are confused, sir.
American has been confused because other intangible factor when it gets inside oil, we will take the oil of this area. those things doesn't work out. We will pull Chinese out. We'll teach the Chinese their lessons, Russians their lessons. See, when this battle, where Iran went wrong in my judgment. 7th October, what they did it through Hamas is a total wrong as far as Iran was concerned. They have been guided to shift the battle from transatlantic area to Mediterranean. It is West Asia, we call it, is the trans-Mediterranean area. Basically, you see geographically, there they went wrong.
You operated with Soleimani, sir?
I did. I know as when he was a brigadier, yeah, in the UN environment, I have come across with him. I give him. Where he went wrong is this. He had a lot of praises for India, Indian armed forces. That keep that aside. The way the Iranian acted against the national interest of India, that has to be paramount, and that we should keep it in our mind. Why it looks like that India has dumped Iran at this stage, and I am totally with it. One aspect I am with the Israelis, and I don't say I am with the Americans, because Americans may not be, because they are not fighting against the terrorism. That you take it.
Yes, sir.
But Israelis, it is a matter of their existence. They are fighting. It is not easy to take on three powers. Hezbollah is a power, 30,000 missiles or rocket. It is a power to reckon with. There is a Houthi, you have seen.
Yes.
And Hamas is still fighting. 90,000 weapons still intact with them. People do not know. That was the peace talk in Gaza and all. But Gaza, where the things American miscalculated, thinking Gaza just about 400 kilometers by approximately 100 kilometers. In that area, you are not able to control it. Israel, that is there. Gaza is just 40 by 12 kilometers. They are able to control that. Can you control Iran? A force of 6 lakhs, if you take it. The IRGC itself, 1,60,000 strong. The Basit force. These are the forces, especially the Navy. People don't talk about the Israelis' Navy. In this area of Hormuz, which is a very restricted area. We know 3 islands, they are holding like we say strong point. Americans' Fifth Fleet has not able to go there. It's just next to it. Why? That is their operational responsibility. In Bahrain, they are sitting over there. Their operational written of the Central Command responsibility is there to keep the Strait of Hormuz open. Today is the 6th day. Hormuz is closed. They are not able to do it. They are firing Tomahawk missile from their destroyer. Can you achieve, can you keep your this thing open? They were not kept the your Red Sea, that is Bab al-Mandeb Strait, open. The Israelis wanted to go to Somaliland. The Somaliland in between came. They wanted to recognize.
Yes.
They wanted to put. Israelis can do this. If the Israelis would have gone to Somaliland, they can keep this strait open. If the Israelis are not here, in my judgment, in spite of that fact that Fifth Fleet over there, it is very difficult to keep it strong if they are determined to close it.
Okay. Where exactly did Iran go wrong? You said that they were on the right path and then they went wrong. And you said that 7th of October, one thing, it was a terrorist act. It was a huge strategic miscalculation on part of Iran. And you also spoke about the axis of the so-called axis of resistance, the Houthi, Hezbollah. So Iran supporting terrorism is where Iran went wrong, you're saying, sir?
Yeah. See, when in 1979 also, if you should take it, when they came, especially after the Islamic Revolution, their idea was to have, in West Asia as a power, and maybe the Shiite power they want to do it. And they had a lot of problem with the other, basically divide is, Persian divide and Arab divide. So there was a divide was there, but they were able to, patch it up. Ayatollah al-Khamenei is, as a, where one part, he is very cutter when we say, absolutely. That if you actually put on ground, so Shiite terrorism, they take it. And Qasim Soleimani, in my judgment, with my reading, my understanding, and his, a little bit interaction with him, he was not the hardcore. that hardcore the way he has been projected. He was a great military leader. You take it from me. From his country point of view, what he did it, the path which you chose, that was wrong. Having access of resistance in the form of terrorist organization.
That is absolutely unbearable.
I'm absolutely clear. That has to be stopped. If that is not stopped, world globally, when the Israelis saying they are fighting, I also feel they are fighting on behalf of the complete community, in the global community who wants to have a peace. This axis of resistance can't exist. You can't. You can't allow. In my judgment, if I am here, if I have the power, I will openly say, and I think in India, by not speaking it out, it's giving the message. If you see him, Prime Minister's address, listen carefully over there, what he did it in Israeli parliament. What he said that, Hamas, he just used the word Hamas, can't be allowed. On 7th October, he has basically, and I'm totally with him, totally with him. You can't allow. Let it be anything. If you allow this, then what the Pakistan is doing with you, you more or less test it, you give a support to it, and you say, okay, it's okay. Or you say, it's okay. We are fighting it out. We are fighting it out since long. I have been, also in Kashmir, a lot of blood, I've seen a lot of path, a lot of operations. So either you keep doing like this, or you have to eliminate. So I give the Israelis their due. Israel is not wrong. Rise is not wrong because we can't talk in this half an hour the complete historical baggage of it.
Yes, sir.
But back of it, Israel is not wrong because it's a matter of their existence.
So, there has been a lot of focus on this decentralized structure of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, and there were articles in the media and breaking news, and suddenly, because you wipe out their leadership in one shot, excellent intelligence, very well coordinated, missiles, bombs in one location, Khamenei goes, the top leadership is wiped out, and suddenly they say, how is it that everywhere IRGC is able to respond? And pat comes the answer that no, this is decentralized now. So there is no central command because you have pretty much wiped out the central command. These are individual independent units who are working as they deem fit. Militarily, how does this work, sir?
See, Gaurav, what happened? They learned their lessons. The Iranian learned the lesson on that 12 days war, and especially the midnight.
You're talking about Midnight Hammer and
and that happened. The Rising Lion, what they gave the name of it, that 12 days war. What they realize, central command is going. If you can't decentralize, then the Iran will not able to fight the future war. They did it. They brainstorming, and I give it to Ayatollah Al-Khamenei, who decided, because he wanted to be martyred. He refused to go to the bunker during that time. And his son, Mujtaba, who came, he was also involved in 12 days war. He was, because this, I have also, a number of times I've spoken about him. Now, what Americans able to do it, about 700 targets. I think 900 targets by Americans and 1,100 targets I'm talking of 28th of. See, they were, this achievement is something, to reckon with in the futures when you will carry out how they did it. It is not that 2,000 targets in one go and then taking 48 leadership, because Ayatollah Al-Khamenei, he decided that he is not going to hide as the way, it has come out of the media. Matter of the fact that he was sitting not in the bunker, he was sitting on the top in the office, and he knew that all these things are happening. It will go down. I think he more or less, he decided that he can be martyred, and that's why he has gone down. He refused to go to the bunker. One thing, that is something very spectacular. I give it, the Americans and the Israelis, what they did it. Where the things have gone wrong. See, thinking that, and they say it is a regime change, wiping out the leadership. They decentralized, and Americans and Israelis, if they say, someone says they didn't know about it, we know about it, they decentralized. They realized it is going to happen this way. They're, wargaming. It is going to happen this way. And how the things, now, Gaurav, you have also, we have, once you give decentralize, directive style of command, that everyone will do this way. See the way your Persian Gulf countries are starting from Kuwait right up to Oman. And it is not haphazard. If someone says, then he doesn't understand the military where the things are going on. The retribution of True Promise 4, and they are saying phase. I think this is 17th or 18th phase which is getting retributed. With complete control of the things. They are saying, world will say, and I am very sure the way they have got the supply, especially the strategic lift of the heavy lifting done by the Chinese in this area, they have got a capability intact. And they say, days to come, you will see, they will open up. And see, they are firing without launcher. As on today, they are not, launchers are not, why not Americans are taking out the, those launchers. So they have created, these missile cities has been created with the capacity to, manufacture and add more. He has released it is very difficult. If you can't take out 425 kgs or 40 kgs of enriched uranium, where you carried out, one after and then tandem strike with your strategic bomber, you think that they will take it out. So they have got a staying power. The miscalculation where the American went wrong is that, the public support will be, moment you carry out like this, people will come out and overall.
So I'll come to the public support part later, sir. This decentralized style of command, does it work? Has it worked in the Indian context ever? Or is there something that you know from your personal experience or otherwise where, you just said that, okay, you're cut off, not cut off, but command says you pretty much do what you like and get us the results?
It has always worked. This is the only thing has worked. You take it any, historical baggage of everywhere, whether it was 1947-48, right? You come down to our conflict of Kargil. Kargil, I can give you my personal example.
Yes, sir.
My battalion was in Delhi. We were airlifted. Some reasons I will not cover here. We were complete. This is the only battalion got lifted because I was the BM of General Budwar, who was that time in Hezbollah. And when I come over there, there's a very long story and all together. We were given a very direct stable command. You are in this sector, you do whatever you think. And that worked tremendously. Of course, people in Kargil, captains, major, lieutenant, havaldar, subedar, people have done that. That is the decentralized command. After that, after the war, everyone jumped into it and then looked like, it is the hierarchy which was functioning. It was not. Going to these peaks and it is, then they say, no, this is the part of that. Everyone looked after, that time, a lot of story. You were there, you must have been there in the war.
No, but my unit was on the line of control, sir, but not in Kargil. It was in Punch, sir. Punch area, sir.
So when your CO gives you, directive style of command,
Sure.
And if you have got the guts, where the things actually worked, where the leadership takes on, you can say there is a command channel, but it's not that every time you ring up, the way the things are coming up in the recent that we went to the Kailas range and asking the tank is coming in open fire or not. Something is going on.
Sure.
It doesn't happen in Indian way. You don't, the tank commanders, the people, and I have seen, and I vouch, I have also risen here. I would not have been more than a major. Or if the way, but the thing is, I have been also, in spite of this thing, I have come to this rank. Very difficult in our army because it is supposed to be chain of command army. You ask permission, it doesn't happen. Direct style of command only functions, and the result, if you ask, whether it is insurgency, in war, this only works.
So what happened in case of Iran, sir? The Supreme Council or their top headquarters told them, now after this, so one thing I want to ask you, sir, what you're basically trying to tell me and the audience is that after Midnight Hammer and Rising Lion operations were conducted, they realized that they're going to do it again. So they must have got a lot of weapons. I'll come to that later, sir. Got a lot of weapons, Chinese, Russian, North Korea, whatever, sir. That is one piece. The second piece is they must have realized that next time what happens, they will target our leadership. Now, either you can be a headless chicken, sir. The leadership is gone and everybody is confused. What to do? Khamenei is no more. You're saying that they wargamed for that scenario also, the Iranians, sir.
Yeah.
They wargamed for that.
They did it. They did it beautifully. They not only this, they also did it what happened in Syria. Because in Syria, the Russians actually were on their support, the thinking. The way things went wrong in Syria also for
Yes, sir.
So they came war game, okay, what can go wrong and how. And they knew that one day it will be eliminated. This, also okay, say
Complete leadership.
leadership. They knew, even they know, because 3 succession real, your chain of command has been created, one after another. And it happens. It happens in an army. When a CO dies, 2IC takes over, 2IC company commanders take over, platoon commanders. I am from Saragadi Battalion, 4-6. I am from 4-6, Saragadi Battalion.
Sure.
I have read that battle. So the command structure, it doesn't happen. People have got a wrong sense of this thing. Every time, someone looking forward back this thing, kya hukum hai hamare liye? There is nothing like hukum. When you are told that you are at your own. And mind you, the youngest leadership in armed forces, any armed forces, and the generalship, it might be experience factor. But his training is, he has got a weapon. He has got a weapon. He has got a targets. The target listing is done now. It has been done. What will happen? Will go for the Burj Khalifa or not? What time and why should go over there? That is all planned. It is the escalation to 11 countries into wherever the American footprints are there. Take the Erbil area of Iran. What is happening? It might be stormed because they have gone into the green areas. The Khattab Hezbollahs, this faction. Now, in this factor, Iran factor, there is something Kurdish problem is also coming. Kurds are, Americans are trying to do, the game. They play everywhere, whether in Afghanistan or whether it was in Syria or ISIS problem, ISIS. They are playing the game.
Sure.
The old game doesn't work out. You have to think something out of. They thought one thing good with Americans. One is that strategy they made it, the Western Hemisphere, that is a different, that we are shrinking to that. They are thinking. The other realization, they did it, this is, no one talks about it. It is an unwritten, this is above the horizon strategy. People do not talk. I have not heard anyone. There is not much of literature. There are some literature on it. Above the horizon strategy, where they realize that you should not have the, they can't afford to put the people on ground, foot on ground. That's why they got out from Afghanistan after 20 years. That might be a very savvy withdrawal from there. Here should not happen, but it is leading towards that action. Still, they are not committed themselves. What commitment is there? Firing some aircraft and standoff distance by air assaults. You think, Gaurav,
That is not sufficient commitment, sir.
it is not a, anytime you will withdraw. I will say, okay, I will not go for my second phase.
Yes.
So there are 3 people. If you just keep, and I will tell you, it is not in public domain. Donald Trump is saying that I am for the Chambers regime and that is our aim. That is, off ramp. He is searching for it. Second thing is Marco Rubio says, no, our aim is that, their missiles, their, nuclear. He is talking about
Missiles, nuclear, Navy.
and their Pete Hexet. He is talking something different. Same people who are supposed to be very close, speaking one language. So you take it. It was in Donald Trump's, I take it that, probably he'll prevail upon. It is a change of regime. Has it worked it out? Eliminating someone, and I'm ready to take on the same thing, same role in a much more, because he was 86-year-old. Maybe, he might be. His second wrong, which is strategically wrong, he openly gave a fatwa, debt to America, debt to Israel. He should not have done it. Why to come in public domain and say like this? There I disagree totally with that, because I am sitting in a cozy room and thinking, I may be thinking, I don't know his compulsion, but there 2 wrongs Iran has done it, and the people of Iran is actually having the problem because of that.
So, I also wanted to ask you, so do you think there are powers behind Iran? Because suddenly you see Iran having a lot of missiles, they are firing, and it seems that Iran can sustain for a few weeks more, sir. So they are not about to get, go out of stock, if I may put it that way, for a largely civilian audience to understand. Where is Iran getting all this from, sir? has there been supply of high tech? Because Iran makes a lot of drones, Iran manufactures a lot of missiles, but these missiles that Iran makes are not top of the line high tech missiles, sir. Where does it get all this stuff from?
See, there are three countries. First, you take it China. China is the main supplier. Heavy lifting is done with them. See, from June onwards till, you said December or January. This is the period, 6 months period. Amount of lift, Gaurav, what they have got in heavy lifting by the Chinese, 660 ton. The
660 tons.
tons of, I do not know what is there, but I have a guess. And it may be something very accurate guess. They can't be getting in the rounds to fire what they got it. Y-20, there's a strategic lift, heavy lift of, and minimum 10 has come through Tajikistan. They have come over there, and they have, see, idea is mine idea. They have got anti-ship missiles, and these anti-ship missiles are deadly ones. No one, you can't stop, and they are not fired. They will fire because target was Abraham Lincoln. 4 rounds, not this anti-ship missile was fired at them. They have to go back to their second line of defense, out of the range of their missiles. The second thing, DF-17, I believe, and these are hypersonic. The anti-ship missile as subsonic missile, supersonic missiles, supersonic. These are the hypersonic, and they are saying Khurram Sahar 4 is in the news. It might be, and they are saying that yesterday the news have, they're openly saying that we have not opened up with everything. So these two, and then there is some equipment which they are, feed is coming. They are not depending on any other feed. They're just feed, and China is not stopping it also. They are showing the Americans, lineup of their aircrafts and all openly in public domain. So China is the heavy lifter, and Chinese are there. They will never get involved physically on ground. But I think, and that is open there. The complete, if you see the Caspian Sea, the maximum number of Russians, ships operates over there. What stops them to supply? So there is no problem of supply. And you can't keep doing infinite strikes like this. Strikes has got, after that. See, the problem is there, their complete military bases, 9 of them, especially if you see from Bahrain to this place, which has got, including the CENTCOM, and the fifth, your fleet, they are shortage of missiles. There's shortage of interceptors. How can replenishment? They say, okay, we'll use, understand, you are involved. 25% of ammunitions and these interceptors were exhausted in 12 days war. And 6 months you can't. If you have, they are able to hit your radar system, $1 billion in Al-Udd base in Bahrain. They were able to do it.
Sure.
And how they have done it. There I've got also some drones. I will not take the name of Chinese drone, which is there, unstoppable. Over and above, Shahid drone, 136 Shahid drones, which the Russians have proved. So they have got capability, they have got a will intact, and I think their command and control is functioning. How far they will go is the time will only tell.
Thank you very much for joining us for this very lovely conversation, ladies and gentlemen, with Major General K.K. Sinha. And he painted the entire scenario. What are the motivations? What are the Iranians doing? What are the motivations for the Israelis, for the Americans? And above all, what is this decentralized way of war fighting? What is this entire decentralized method of war fighting where the entire top echelon is wiped out? Battalions and companies are independent of each other and they know what to do. This is exactly how the Iranians planned this entire war. Whenever the Americans or the Israelis would attack, these people would react in a certain manner. Thank you for watching Open Collar. We'll again come back to you with another special guest. Till then, thank you. Stay tuned. Jai Hind.